Namaste, I am Soumya and welcome to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Now, today is the archetype that I am absolutely in awe of and I do not have much of the elements of. So, she is the queen. From the moment I started the art of femininity, I knew I'll have to do queen, but then I thought I'll just do her eventually, like eventually. Now, from day one of doing this passion project of mine, a lot of things have gone wrong in my life. And whether you believe it or not, I had to regularly tap into the queen energy. It wasn't easy, it's not my comfort zone, but God, is she powerful. So now when I sit here and talk to you about the queen, while the Virgo season is almost getting over and the Libra season is starting, I just genuinely feel I am excited, and this energy, the astrological energy, if you are into it, is just perfect for this. So when we talk about the queen and when we are talking about different archetypes in this podcast or this series, yes, we acknowledge the Jungian psychology, wonderful, but we also have to understand that a lot of things have changed. We have evolved. Western society was always like way ahead, but now the Eastern society is catching up. A lot of girls today are at the age of like 14 and 15 starting to embody their achiever energy, the queen energy, setting up boundaries and deciding not to be in relationships and not to be married and not to let having a partner in their life define them. So taking that into consideration and wanting to push that narrative a little further, here we are talking about the queen, whether she has a king or not. She is the queen. She builds her own queendom. She embodies the energy of the queen, whatever her age, wherever she is, whatever she is doing. Now, queen energy is not something that you can embody without doing your actual inner work. So let's start. Queen. She is not afraid to be seen. She is not afraid to be heard. She definitely is not afraid to be powerful. She learns the rules, the etiquettes, the culture, the traditions, the history. She's well versed in international affairs. She has her general knowledge. She's curious. She respects all of these rules. She knows there is a reason why these rules and regulations and traditions and etiquettes exist. She is not bohemian in any way. Even if she has that inner bohemian creative nature, she knows to always tap into the queen energy when she is in public. And the bohemian, the maiden, the mother, that's for her private time with her own people. This is where a lot of us lose the queen essence. We dress up like queens and we know we need to have our posture straight and say the right thing. But sometimes we get rebellious about things and get vulnerable in front of people who do not deserve our vulnerability. So that means the queen energy has completely mastered, like fully mastered the art of discernment. Always discerning, always in control of her emotions, always aware how much is she sharing. Is this worth saying? Should I reply to that? How should I react to this? A lot of us dress up really well and then go out there. Have you seen like trashy reality shows? The women are dressed to the nines, they look like absolute Barbie dolls, and then they are crazy, they are mad, they're throwing things, they are yelling, they're crying. So, this is why I said to be a queen, you should do your inner work and you should become a queen from the inside out. Going further, now when we talk about queens, of course, we have the real queen, the late Queen Elizabeth II. She was someone who was smaller in stature, more petite, and she was not afraid to wear brighter colors to stand out. She is someone who is very strict. She's all about the traditions and rules and regulations, and she was witty. She had excellent conversational skills. She could talk to you even if an entire speech is not written for her. So that means as a queen, you first learn everything. You learn the rules, and then you have mastered the art of discernment. So when you know when is it okay to break a rule or bend a rule. You know what I'm saying? Now, the next, Princess of Wales. Catherine is stunning. She's a beauty. The way she dresses up, the way she carries herself, the way she interacts with everyone. She's already a queen in every sense. But you should know, queen energy is not something that we are born with. Like, for example, being a bohemian. A lot of us are born with that bohemian energy, maiden energy. Some of us naturally have the mothering energy. Queen energy is not always something that you are 100% born with. You have to cultivate this energy. And to cultivate this energy, you need to have a level of humility that I do not know everything. So before I rebel against something, before I speak up against someone, I will learn enough about it. I will ask the right people about it. Now that brings us to the next stage. Who are you taking advice from? Because a queen, she has people who are the best in their fields as her advisors. Fashion advice from people who are doing really well in fashion. Medical advice from people who are actual medical practitioners. How are we? We all have a group of friends, a couple of family members, and what do? We have a career problem, we'll talk to the same people. We have a relationship problem, we'll talk to the same people. We cannot decide what to wear for someone's wedding, we'll talk to the same people. We do not have this attitude of, oh, they are my loved ones. That does not mean they are the best people to give me advice and so and so. A queen knows that when she is going through a mental problem, an emotional problem, she needs to meet the right people. The doctors, the psychologist, the therapist, rather than just relying on people around her. When she knows she has to go and attend some really big event, she calls up people who are good with beauty, like makeup and hair and clothes. She does not just rely on her friends and her cousins. So what I'm trying to say is she knows she should get things done the right way. She is also humble to know that she doesn't know everything. She also has discernment to know that the people around her, her loved ones, may not be always the best people for certain things. So she does not hesitate to go to experts for things that she wants to get done. So, again, she is using the art of discernment when it comes to who is she taking advice from. Next time you want to take advice about something, ensure the person to whom you are talking about this, the person to whom you are going to get advice on certain thing, that person is an expert in that field. If you have a relationship problem, go to someone who's an expert in relationships. who's a therapist, or someone whose relationship seems to be thriving, rather than going to that friend of yours who, keeps on breaking up with all her partners in a few months' time, and she's a man hater and you're not aware of it. And then she clouds your mind about the partner you're speaking about relationship, and then you come out of it feeling not wonderful, and then that might translate into you having doubts in your relationship and your partner. All of this happened because you were not even aware that the person you were talking to had internalized misogyny and misandry, and she doesn't know that herself. So we all have subconscious, conscious patterns. When we want to take advice on certain things, it's good to go to the experts. Next. A lot of people think Queen means a Leo energy. To some extent, yeah, Leos are not afraid to be seen. They are glamorous. They are performers. They are extroverted. They're very loving. And they also have this, they also have this thing where they wear their heart on their sleeves, which is all wonderful, but Queen energy is way more than that. Queen energy is actually a lot to do with your mind. So I would go ahead and say it's a combination of air and earth. Air, especially Libra. Why Libra? Diplomacy. Librans are social butterflies. Librans have excellent conversational skills. Librans are diplomatic. Librans are not highly emotional. Like when they step into something, they are always focusing on solving the problem. They know how to de escalate the issue. They can keep a logical attitude even in highly emotional environments. So, Queen energy is very, very air and earth, not just Leo, because Leo is more of a performer. And of course, you can be a Leo and be a queen, but you know what I'm trying to say. So you need strategy to be a queen. And when it comes to strategy, creating goals, creating daily to-do list, creating a schedule, a routine, having a strategy of how to go from point A to point Z, you need a Virgo, you need a Capricorn. Virgos are planners. Virgos are okay with routines. Virgos are okay with having boring days. Virgos are okay with doing boring things because they know those boring things eventually leads to their ultimate goal. So they can put their head down and do the work. Same with Capricorn. It's a very Saturnian energy. And if you know Princess of Wales, she's a Capricorn. They will do the work. They know that they have to put in the work to cultivate certain things in their life. So to have a great body, you have to do a lot of boring things, like wearing gym clothes, going to the gym, sticking to the same workout routine for the first 6 weeks. Then your personal trainer will give you the next workout routine for the next 4 weeks. It's like the same thing, but you know what? At the end of it, at the end of the 6 weeks, at the end of the 8 weeks, you will start seeing the results. But the whole process of pushing yourself, going there, getting that thing done, for that you need the Virgo, the Capricorn energy. And conversational skills, intellectual skills, a focus on self-development, a genuine curiosity to know the other person and the things that's happening around you, a good grasp and grip on the international affairs. That's all very air, especially Libra. So that is the astrological archetype of it. So we have talked about the mindset of the queen, the way she tackles things, the astrological aspect, and about advisors. Now, certain questions that I would provide you with, which you can take to your journal and write, like what's coming up. This will just enable you to understand your attitude towards life the archetype of the queen, how much of the real archetype of queen exists inside of you. And it's exciting. It's like a process of self-discovery. So, do you think rules are there to control people? Or do you think rules allow to serve the people better? Let me repeat that. Do you think rules are there to control people, or do you think rules are there to allow to serve the people better? This is a great journaling prompt. As we mentioned, the queen has certain attitudes about rules, regulations, etiquettes, manners, traditions, culture. She knows what is there for what reason. She knows when to break something, when to bend something, and when to stick to it. This particular journal prompt enables you to understand what is your take on these things. There's no right or wrong, and as I mentioned earlier in my other episodes, that none of us are purely just one archetype. Think of it like a spectrum. Say this is like 100% queen and this is just 0% queen. A lot of us will have aspects in us that puts us somewhere here and somewhere here, okay? But not most of us are not 0% and 100% in the absolute. And based on the cultural upbringing, based on the place you live in, based on your current conditions, it'll depend. It'll differ as well. For example, you start as a maiden. Most of us, just we're born and we have this like natural childlike wonder, curiosity. We are gullible, we are naive, we are very trusting. And then we go through things in our life. We learn certain things and then we start transitioning from the maiden to different archetypes. Some of us will get married while still staying in our maiden. Okay, especially if it is in Eastern culture, we have arranged marriage. A lot of girls, they are still in their maiden. They are still like dad's princess, mom's little girl. They haven't gone away and gone to university, stayed by themselves, learned to cook for themselves, fend for themselves, none of that. And in that sweet, cute, lovely maiden state, they get married to a man who might be tapping into the state that is above the prince. And then either she has to quickly evolve and go through things and start bringing out other archetypes in her life, or she will just look like someone who is immature and childish and the marriage might not work. So there's different ways in which archetypes play out, and there's no given that, oh, now you're 18 years old, you're not a maiden anymore. Like, no, that's not how it works. This is why I stress on the importance of working on yourself, being self-aware and being socially aware. So it's not just about watching one YouTuber who says that this is what a queen does and go and do that. If you cannot do your inner work first, I have to say this is so important. If you want to embody the queen energy, you have to change from the inside out. If you do not do your inner work and you try to be like the queen, the easiest way in which you would do that is through aesthetics. Doing your hair like a queen, doing your clothes like a queen, and carrying yourself in a way. The problem with that is it is not sustainable. And in a lot of ways, in a lot of scenarios, you won't look like a queen. You would look like a fancy dress competition contestant who's dressed up like a queen. Because queens do not get triggered in public. Queens know how to speak in front of everyone. Queens know how to control their own emotions. So even if she's triggered by something that you are saying, you cannot see that on her face. You do not hear that trigger response and nervous system dysregulation in her conversation. She, after that particular interaction with you, will go to a therapist and deal with whatever has come up for her, but she will not have a meltdown in front of you and make a big scene. Because she knows who she is, she knows what is expected of her, and she has full control of herself. So this is why I talk about the importance of inner work, and that inner work leading you to you embody. Now, when you're starting to embody the queen, the easiest things you can do is having attention to detail. Starts with your appearance. Take pride in your appearance. And my mom used to say this so much, like whenever we are getting out of the house, you're going somewhere, she says, no, do that to your hair and iron this a little more, and be careful about your posture. And I was like, I don't care. This is who I am. There was a rebelliousness to me which didn't have much of any cause. So that's what I was saying. Be a rebel, but with the cause. Don't be someone who hates everyone. Everyone is bad. Everyone is toxic. Are you sure? Are you sure that's the truth? Is everybody else toxic, or do you have some levels of toxicity that you should be working on? And sometimes when we say everybody else is bad, it prevents us from doing our work. And things will change and our life will change only when we do the work. As Dr. Joe Dispenza says, your personality creates your personal reality. Now, going ahead, the advisors of the queen are people who are experts in their field. So journal about who are your advisors and why do you go to them for advice. So that was the second journaling prompt. The third one is not a journaling prompt. If you want, you can prompt about it. It is the concept of, this is something that the Gen Z talks about a lot. It's the concept of, oh, that is a queen move. Go queen. What is that? You can be a bohemian archetype. You can be someone who's more tapped into the mother archetype, and that's absolutely fine. We are all our own people. Okay. A queen move is, Nora Fatehi is a performer. As soon as she started making her own music videos, where she is the producer, the singer, and I think it is in her own channel, her own YouTube channel, she started putting the spotlight on all the back dancers. Now, all of a sudden, we know the name of every single back dancer in her songs. That is a queen move. She doing that just elevated her status to a full-on queen. That made her an absolute queen, because queens are women who have full-on self-confidence. You shining bright does not dim my light. That is a very queen attitude. But in most of our life, what we have seen is, if a beautiful woman walks across the room, other women want to talk about, oh, I think she just got a BBL. Is her hair real? Isn't that too much makeup? She looks so fake. This is our process of trying to level the field by picking her apart. But a queen, she appreciates everyone for the way they are. And as I mentioned, you shining bright does not take away my light. It does not dim my light. So that is queen move. If you have seen recently, the internet was going crazy about the Ambani wedding. And when I saw Nida Ambani, the way she dressed, the way she spoke, I think she gave a speech about the importance of Kanyadan. She is someone who's very traditional. She stands up for her traditions, and the way she speaks, the way she dresses up, there is that queen essence in her. And I think she's crossed the age of 60. Kindly correct me if I am wrong. Even at that age, she exudes a certain class, elegance, a command over her self and her own conversation skills that really makes us want to stop whatever we are doing and just look at her. Now, again, as I mentioned, if you are someone who hasn't done the work, then she will trigger you. Everything else in the world will trigger you. But that is your own thing that you have to work on. So when I'm talking about queens, Nida Ambani definitely comes to my mind. Because as I mentioned, in our culture, in Eastern culture, and that includes a vast majority of countries in the world, there is the concept of arranged marriage. So a lot of times, maidens who are still doing their university, who's like still doing their undergraduate program, they start getting proposals. The family will get them engaged after like a lot of period of time, and then they'll have a year to get married. So many things happens like that. Okay, in that process, a woman has the chance to start cultivating the queen essence. But if you are still in your maiden, then, oh, you do this for me, you do that for me, I can't be bothered, people are so bad. When you get married, things could go really, really bad. And then you do not have the right mindset to, become the queen. And in the Western culture, I have heard that when a woman is in her 30s and she has entered that queen essence of hers, that is when she attracts her king. I did not want to make a video which is just about you being a queen so you can get a king. I didn't want to make a video about you are a queen only if you have a king, because that's not what I believe at all. In today's world, we have, in most parts of the world, I'm not saying everywhere, I'm very aware of what's happening in a lot of parts of the world. So a lot of women in this world, we are very lucky. We have the right to education, the right to books, the right to work, the right to have our own bank accounts, the right to change ourselves in ways that are great for our own life trajectory and for the people around us. So kindly utilize whatever resources you have for your own betterment and tap into the queen essence in the right time, because you need the queen essence. Even when you are a mother, when you are showing up as a queen, your children have a chance to be seen more, to be respected more, and you develop in them their confidence journey. You're not scared to be seen and heard and powerful. And as a mother, when you show up in that way, your children are not afraid of being seen and heard and being powerful. And you show them that self-development and self-growth and self-discovery and curiosity and knowledge and all of those things are paths that will help them to become their better versions. And we all need a world where people are self-aware, kind, compassionate, educated, helpful towards each other. That will lead to more abundance and prosperity and love. Anyways, the another thing you can think about and write about is, do you think you need a king to be a queen? There are the old archetypes that I think Jung has mentioned about. You are a queen when you get married and you get a king, and then it might look like you go to a particular temple and you become this woman who is well respected by everyone because of the man you are married to. So you start organizing a lot of cultural programs like that. Think about it also like in certain parts of the world, there's priests who are married, certain places, and their wives will become like these, they tap into the queen energy, and they tell others like, do this and do that, we are arranging this, we need charity for this, we are collecting money for that. That is also a queen energy. So queen energy shows up in a lot of different ways. It just doesn't mean that you marry a king and you become a queen, or you marry a prince and you eventually become a queen. It's way more than that. As I mentioned, it's an archetype. So the way you can develop a lot of this is by, as I mentioned, pay attention to details. Very, very detail oriented. Understand the importance of having a plan and strategy. Be very aware of the people you surround yourself with, because they can make you or they can break you. Discernment, emotional intelligence, elevated conversation skills, taking pride in how you present yourself. I have to correct my posture all the time because I have a habit of just slouching, and I'm like, no, back straight, take pride in who you are. And another thing about the queen, even if she's soft spoken, she knows how to project her voice. Now, to improve your conversation skills, it's great to listen to podcasts and audiobooks and all of that. Can I be real? Reading, even reading fiction, like good authors and good fiction, It will improve the way you construct sentences. It will improve the vocabulary you use. And if you can add journaling on top of it, then you would know how to articulate your thoughts. Journaling, what is journaling? You have all these thoughts and all these feelings and all of these things running around in your body and in your mind, and you're just putting everything to the paper. So the more you journal, the more you are able to access your own thoughts. A lot of people say that, I know these are the things I'm supposed to say, but then when I reach there, I don't know, like I can't bring my thoughts into the reality. Journal, 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 journal more. I've given you, I think, 3 journal prompts in this one. I think I gave you 1 or 2 journal prompts in the last episode. So journal about, oh, I watched this and it made me feel like this, and I think the reason I felt this was because this triggered this in me and that reminded me of that. I do not believe this narrative, and now you are tapping into your own thought process. So the last lines I have written down is, I would like the series to invite a perspective shift in you that you can embody the queen energy wherever you are, whatever you do. You are in the service industry, someone comes and orders burgers and fries with you. Even there, you can embody the queen energy. How do you do that? You have a smile. You look the person in their eyes. You speak really well. You take pride in what you do. You know what my first job was? I was a telemarketing executive. Me. And I used to get yelled at on the daily. I was 18 when I got that job. And I took pride in that job. Even when I cried, I showed up as my best version. After that job, so my job was from 8 to, it was supposed to be 8 to 6. I had to cut down my lunch break because after work, I had to go for my undergraduate program. I was doing my BBA back then, evening classes. And 8 to 5:30 was my job. There was a lot of crying almost every day because as an introvert, it was difficult for me to speak on the phone. And those many rejections, those many people yelling, and still having to meet the daily number of calls, and then you have a lot of weekly goals given to you, a lot of things like that. And then after that, I had to go for my classes, my BBA, after which I came home at like 10:30 at night, then like take a shower, eat my food, arrange my clothes for the next day, arrange my timetable, books and everything for my university bag, and I would barely get 6 hours of sleep. Even then, I took pride in the fact that I was able to pay my tuition fees. I worked hard for the degree I wanted to achieve. I worked hard so that my parents would have a sense of ease, that they don't have to pay my fees. I had to go through that to slowly develop a level of confidence, trust in the process, importance of routines that later on helped me face extremely, extremely bad situations. Someday we will have a coffee and chat. Now is not the time. So I'm just telling you that if everything is very easy for you and everything is given to you on a platter, that will never help you to become the best version of yourself. That will not lead to any kind of character development. So think of everything that comes your way as something that is helping you to develop even more, to learn the lessons, and to learn that you have to trust the process. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I would love to know what do you think about it. Let me know in the comments. Compared to a lot of my other videos, the series is not getting as many views. So I have been thinking of, should I continue with this? Who am I serving with this? And then a part of me thought, no, I want to do this because I'm passionate about it. Oh, before I forget, before I leave, as always, I recommend everyone to read Women Who Run with the Wolves. And especially for this, I have a page. Okay. Gifted women, even as they reclaim their creative lives, Even as beautiful things flow from their hands, from their pens, from their bodies, still question whether they are writers, painters, artists, people, real ones. And of course, they are real ones, even though they might like to bedevil themselves with what constitutes real. A farmer is a real farmer when she looks out over the land and plants the spring crops. A runner is real when she takes the first step. A flower is real when it is yet in its mother stem. A tree is real when it is still a seed in the pine cone. An old tree is a real living being. Real is what has life. So anytime you have that imposter syndrome, anytime people around you are questioning certain things about you and what you're doing, remember this. Now, I also wanted to mention the animus in the queen is the king, and it is very important you develop your animus in the best way possible. The book talks all about that. I just wanted to read one more line before I end this very, very rather long video. The key aspect to a positive animus development is actual manifestation of cohesive inner thoughts, impulses, and ideas. And that's that. See you soon. Bye bye.